Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's just that they just don't follow their own rules of even contempt of Congress. Nonetheless, so why should we trust them to do the right thing on January 6th? Let's get into the first segment. Well, you heard it. You heard it loud and clear. That's going to be their plan. Now I don't know how well that's going to work out for them, but
How much different is that than what Trump was trying to do? Okay, take we're gonna take the left's argument about what Trump attempted by calling all of his people on January or during the election when they were doing all of the certifying and everything, and telling them, "Hey guys, you know, the vote's here, or the slates of electors there, or this, that, or the other." Tell me how this is any different by their standard.
well, one of those went through a legal process and the other one does not. And it's funny, I thought they went through this in the Supreme Court, and the main thing is that the Supreme Court said, Congress, you're supposed to deal with this part. We interpret the laws and we're interpreting it the way that we feel is correct, not the way that you feel. That's their job. Their job is to interpret. Your job is to make it. So, um, so I think there was a misrepresentation of what Congress is supposed to do, because if you want to invoke what is it, Article 14, Section 3, then either you have to do that by impeachment or you have to do that by amendment. That's it. There's a reason why it's difficult to to make changes and amendments, because they didn't want this to be a direct democracy, which we talked about this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Because direct democracy is a straight line of tyranny, and they did not want that. So, um, you need a super majority in order to make those changes. But I, I I don't know. It's like the Democrats are not following democratic processes now.
Democracy has left the Democrat Party.
Yeah, it has left the building just like Elvis. I mean, I got a couple of examples for you. So, like, allowing their own constituents to vote for, who they want as president in the primaries. You change the number of SCOTUS seats because we all know that they would totally equally split the justices, right? And then you've got, changing the voting system in Pennsylvania, the last election, without legislation being passed and proper immigration procedures. Like, I can just go on and on and on and on. And it's not that these systems aren't working, it's just that they're intentionally breaking them, or just saying, you know what, I just don't want to follow it. Well, I don't, that's not going to end well,
No.
at least in our end.
The 14th Amendment on Section 3 reads as follows: No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as member of Congress or as officer of the United States or as member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability.
Exactly. Take a look at this. This is Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. Quote, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the United States. So, I mean,
So this applies to them as well.
yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
if they decide that they're going to subvert what has been constitutionally ruled upon codified constitutionally and then ruled upon as interpreted by the Supreme Court, and then they just say, forget the Supreme Court. All right, now you're outside the realm. I would argue that they are engaging in the insurrection. They're engaging in the treasonous act of saying, forget your laws, forget your Supreme Court, forget everything, because they don't have a respect for it anyway. They just want what they want, and they're pushing the ever-loving boundaries of everything right now. They've been doing it. That's how what's her name in Georgia got busted for her affair with her special counsel. They're pushing, and it's like, one day you're gonna have to give birth to something, lady. Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's just that they just don't follow their own rules of even contempt of Congress. Nonetheless, so why should we trust them to do the right thing on January 6th?
But I think here the key difference too between the two parties, right? Between like the seat of the president and the seat in the congressman here is, the president never takes an oath to support. Trump is one of the few presidents that never took oath of office to support Constitution. Section 14, Section 3 cannot apply to him. President and VP do not swear to support. They swear to protect and defend.
That's their job.
Because they're enforcers of the law. Right? So the support role has to be support. It makes sense. They're making legislation. Right? So their legislation they make should support what already exists. However, they don't necessarily do that a lot. They undermine it. Whereas the president and the vice president swear to protect and defend.
Exactly. Yeah. And this person here, I mean, they speak on it pretty clearly. So let's take a look.
This indictment news, people on social media have been sharing their thoughts and theories on the case.
Abby Larico joins us now to verify if the former president is uniquely impacted by a specific section of the Constitution. Abby, good morning.
Hey, ladies, good morning to you both. Lots to talk about with everything that came down yesterday. Well, Article 2 of the Constitution lists only 3 qualifications for the presidency and does not ban someone from office for being charged with or convicted of a crime. But now the 14th Amendment is getting some attention for possibly prohibiting Donald Trump from becoming president again. So does it? Let's verify. Our sources are the 14th Amendment, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, and 2 constitutional law experts. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, casually known as the Insurrection Clause, gives Congress the power to ban public officials from holding office if they have engaged in insurrection or rebellion. Our legal experts lay out 3 points to keep in mind. First, Congress would need to find him guilty of engaging in an insurrection. Next, the Supreme Court would need
impeachment and then removal.
To rule on whether the president classifies as an officer of the United States. That's because the 14th Amendment mentions state lawmakers and member of Congress, but not presidents. And in a 2010 Supreme Court case, Chief Justice John Roberts said that since presidents are elected, not appointed, they don't count as officers of the United States.
And that goes back to our point on immunity.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this on a show a couple weeks ago, on presidential immunity. Like you have to have some types of protections in a position in which there's only one person, okay? Because, the Supreme Court is a small group of people, so it's almost like an oligarch. I mean, really, honestly, it is, and then you have the democracy section, which is over in the House and Senate. So we have and then almost like a dictatorship in president, but he's
the police force. He's the head police force.
Yeah,
so he's not really a dictator. He's just a guy that says, okay, well, this is what the book says. Book him, Dano. Like, that's his job. He's the book him, Dano guy. And he gets to negotiate with foreign leaders.
Exactly. But within his column. All right. So I always wondered, I'm like, this one person's not going to have enough power to take over the entire country. They just don't. That's the reason why we have what? A first and what scrap?
Second Amendment.
There it is. It's the reason, specifically for that. So i- if he's not going to go outside those bounds, why is it that Congress is trying? It's almost like Congress is trying to be the overarching body here. Just because either one, they don't agree on who is running for office or going to be in office or elected to office, and also the rulings that they're getting. It's almost as if like they feel as if they are above, the three column system. And in order for that to work, there's going to have to be a silent fourth or maybe even fifth column in order to kind of push weight around, because the system is created so that they're all equal and no one can step on the toes of one or the other.
Mm-hmm. The only time that one or the other kind of overlap is when they step out of line of their office. Like, so the impeachment process, right? As soon as the president steps out of line, now Congress has authority to say, okay, you're done. And then once they're removed, then they can start to convict them. Okay, you've done high crimes and misdemeanors. And then, or courts, a lot of times, like, I think the Supreme Court has the marshals. If the Supreme Court rules, hey, go get this guy, they can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the other problem now is Congress, the Senate, believe, no, the House, they have the Capitol Police. And that is actually one of the scarier ones when it comes to policing and overlap. There is no reason why Capitol Police should be, we're getting a little bit off tech here, but this is kind of tangential and in the wheelhouse a little bit. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to send a FOIA request and get information out of Capitol Police.
Mm-hmm.
So Pelosi, at the time of J6, since we're talking about all this stuff again, and all that, and insurrections and whatnot, she is basically in charge of all that, the Capitol Police. She's in charge of the security on the Capitol. And guess what they did is they put a whole bunch of little precinct stations around the country within capitals of the states. They started that after January 6th. They have now expanded basically an unimpeachable, unaccountable police force across the United States. And there was very little anything and anyone spoke of it. So they're out of line, honestly. That Capitol Police should be nowhere except the Capitol.
Or
it should be underneath the direction of the president and his DOJ. So
exactly.